In today's episode, we're exploring 5 people who were mauled by big cats, from a desperate father's misguided attempt to a burglar's final heist that led him to mountain lion territory. But first, let's begin with the first story, which led him to make the most dangerous gamble of his life. It was September 18th, 2016, and the late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the Bronx Zoo as the last visitors made their way toward the exits. The 265-acre facility, home to over 4,000 animals, was winding down from another busy Sunday as staff prepared for the evening feeding routines. Miguel Santos, 34, sat on a bench in the nearby park, an empty bottle of whiskey beside him as he stared through the trees toward the zoo's entrance. The construction worker from the Bronx had been drinking since noon, trying to numb the pain of losing custody of his 8-year-old daughter Sophia 3 months earlier. His gambling addiction had cost him everything: his marriage, his home, his relationship with his child, and now his job after being laid off from the construction site where he had worked for 6 years. Miguel's ex-wife Carmen had obtained a restraining order after he showed up at Sophia's school, demanding to see her, his desperation and erratic behavior frightening both the teachers and his daughter. The eviction notice in his pocket gave him 3 days to vacate his apartment, but Miguel had no money for rent and nowhere to go. At 34, he felt like his life was over, but somewhere in his alcohol-clouded mind, he had formed a plan that he believed would prove to Carmen that he was brave enough to be a father again. As closing time approached, Miguel made his way to the service area behind the tiger exhibit, where maintenance buildings provided access to the facility's infrastructure. The tiger exhibit housed Czar, a 400-pound male Siberian tiger who had been rescued from illegal captivity and given sanctuary at the zoo. Siberian tigers are the largest living cat subspecies, with adult males weighing up to 660 pounds and measuring over 10 feet in length. They are solitary predators with incredible strength, capable of taking down prey much larger than themselves, using their powerful jaws and razor-sharp claws. Their bite force reaches approximately 1,000 pounds per square inch, and their speed and agility make escape nearly impossible once an attack begins. Miguel waited until the zoo grounds were empty and the staff had moved to other areas for evening duties. The alcohol had given him a false sense of courage, and he convinced himself that surviving an encounter with the tiger would demonstrate the kind of bravery that would win back his family's respect. Using his construction experience, Miguel accessed the maintenance building's roof through an unlocked service door. Miguel climbed over the roof's safety barrier and dropped into the exhibit's moat area, then scrambled up the opposite wall into Czar's habitat. Czar, weighing over 400 pounds, reacted instantly to the intruder in his domain. The massive tiger charged Miguel with explosive speed, covering the distance between them in powerful bounds. Czar's massive paw struck Miguel in the back, sending him sprawling face first onto the ground. The tiger's claws raked across Miguel's shoulders and back, opening deep gashes that immediately began bleeding profusely. The tiger's powerful jaws found Miguel's neck, his 3-inch canines puncturing muscle and major blood vessels while crushing his cervical vertebrae. The tiger's hind claws raked across Miguel's thigh and hip, opening massive wounds that caused catastrophic bleeding. Miguel's struggles grew weaker as blood loss and airway compromise overwhelmed his system. Zoo security arrived within minutes of hearing Miguel's screams and radioed for the emergency response team. By the time the tranquilizer fully sedated Czar after 10 minutes, Miguel had already succumbed to massive blood loss and trauma. The investigation revealed that Miguel had been drinking heavily before the incident and had accessed the enclosure through the service area roof during feeding preparations. Miguel's death devastated his family and highlighted the tragic consequences of untreated mental health issues and substance abuse. His ex-wife Carmen struggled to explain to their daughter why her father would never be coming home, while the zoo implemented additional security measures for all service areas. But Miguel's tragic end was just the beginning of our journey into the deadly world of big cat encounters. In Florida, a hard-working maintenance worker's decision to take a dangerous shortcut would lead him into the territory of a 450-pound African lion. It was April 3, 2015, and the pre-dawn darkness enveloped the Big Cat Rescue Sanctuary in Tampa, Florida, as Jerome Washington arrived for his early morning maintenance shift. The 120-acre facility housed over 80 rescued big cats, providing sanctuary for animals saved from illegal ownership, failed zoos, and entertainment facilities. Jerome Washington, 41, parked his beat-up pickup truck near the maintenance building and gathered his tools for another day of repairs and upkeep. The part-time maintenance worker had been with the sanctuary for 2 years, balancing his duties there with a night job at a warehouse to support his disabled mother. Jerome was known for his strong work ethic and willingness to take on any task, but also for his tendency to cut corners when running behind schedule. His supervisors had warned him multiple times about following safety protocols, especially daily near the big cat enclosures. This morning, Jerome was already running late for his warehouse shift. He had a long list of repairs to complete, including fixing a broken water line that required him to access the tool shed on the far side of the property. The normal route would take him around the perimeter of several enclosures, adding 15 minutes to his already tight schedule. Caesar's enclosure sat directly between Jerome and his destination. The massive African lion had been rescued from a defunct circus 3 years earlier and had adapted well to sanctuary life. At 450 pounds, Caesar was one of the largest cats at the facility, with an impressive mane and the powerful build that made male lions such formidable predators. African lions are apex predators that live in complex social structures in the wild, but males like Caesar are naturally territorial and will aggressively defend their domain against any perceived intruders. Adult males can weigh up to 420 pounds and possess incredible strength, with powerful jaws capable of delivering bite forces of approximately 900 pounds per square inch. Their razor-sharp claws can grow up to 3 inches long, and their speed and agility make them extremely dangerous to humans who enter their territory. Jerome had observed Caesar's daily routines for 2 years and knew that the lion typically spent the early morning hours resting in his den. The sanctuary used a double-door lockout system for all big cat enclosures, requiring Caesar to be secured in his holding area before any human could enter the main habitat for maintenance work. Pressed for time and confident in his knowledge of Caesar's habits, Jerome made the fatal decision to take a shortcut through the lion's enclosure. He approached the guillotine door that separated Caesar's main habitat from his holding area, intending to verify that the lion was secured before entering. However, he failed to properly secure the guillotine door's locking pin, leaving it held only by gravity rather than the mechanical lock that would prevent Caesar from pushing it open. Jerome entered the main enclosure through the maintenance gate, believing Caesar was safely contained. He began walking quickly across the open area toward the tool shed, focused on completing his task and getting to his warehouse job on time. What Jerome didn't realize was that the improperly secured guillotine door allowed Caesar to push through into the main enclosure. The massive lion had detected Jerome's presence and was now prowling his territory, investigating this unexpected intruder. Jerome was halfway across the enclosure when Caesar launched his attack. The 450-pound lion exploded from behind a cluster of trees with devastating speed, his powerful hind legs propelling him across the open ground in massive bounds that covered the distance between them in seconds. The impact of Caesar's charge knocked Jerome to the ground, his toolbox flying from his hands as the lion's massive weight drove him into the dirt. Jerome tried desperately to crawl toward the exit gate 50 yards away, but Caesar's powerful jaws found his neck and throat before he could cover even a few feet. Caesar's 2.5-inch canine teeth punctured through Jerome's neck and throat, his bite force crushing his windpipe and severing major blood vessels. Caesar's claws raked across Jerome's torso and arms, opening deep gashes that caused additional blood loss and trauma. The lion's natural killing instincts drove him to maintain his grip on Jerome's neck while using his powerful body weight to pin his victim to the ground. Jerome's struggles grew weaker as blood loss and airway compromise overwhelmed his system. Within minutes, his movements ceased as Caesar's devastating attack proved fatal. The lion continued to guard his kill, pacing around Jerome's lifeless body while maintaining the territorial behavior that had triggered the attack. The sanctuary director discovered the scene 20 minutes later when Jerome failed to respond to his scheduled radio check. Emergency responders and wildlife officials worked together to safely tranquilize Caesar and remove Jerome's remains from the enclosure. The investigation revealed that Jerome had violated multiple safety protocols by entering Caesar's enclosure without properly securing the guillotine door and without following the mandatory 2-person rule for big cat areas. The sanctuary implemented enhanced security measures for all maintenance work. Jerome's death devastated his family and the sanctuary community, highlighting the inherent dangers of working with apex predators even in controlled environments. Yet the dangers of big cat encounters extended beyond professional settings. In Seattle, a teenager's reckless dare would lead him into a deadly confrontation with one of nature's most powerful predators. It was July 29, 2017, and the summer evening air carried the sounds of the city through the Woodland Park Zoo in Seattle, Washington. The 92-acre facility had closed to visitors hours earlier, leaving the grounds quiet except for the occasional calls of nocturnal animals and the distant hum of traffic from the surrounding neighborhoods. Tyler Brennan, 17, crouched behind a maintenance building as a security guard's flashlight swept past his hiding spot. The high school senior had successfully evaded detection for 3 hours since the zoo closed, fulfilling the first part of a dare that his classmates had issued after he bragged about his ability to sneak into any any location undetected. Tyler came from a broken home where his divorced parents were too consumed with their own problems to provide proper supervision. His father worked long hours at a tech company and spent his free time with his new girlfriend, while his mother had moved to another state after the divorce. The teenager had developed a reputation among his peers for taking dangerous dares and engaging in increasingly risky behavior to gain attention and acceptance. His history of trespassing and petty vandalism had earned him several warnings from police, but no serious consequences that might have deterred his reckless behavior. Tonight's dare had started as a simple challenge to spend the night in the zoo, but Tyler's need to impress his friends had escalated the stakes. He needed photographic proof of an encounter that would cement his reputation as the most fearless member of his group. The jaguar exhibit had caught Tyler's attention during his reconnaissance of the facility. Luna, a 200-pound female jaguar, lived in a carefully designed habitat that replicated the rainforest environment of her species' natural home. Jaguars are the third largest big cat species in the world and the apex predator of the Americas, with bite forces reaching approximately 1,500 pounds per square inch, stronger than lions or tigers. They are solitary hunters with incredible stealth and power, capable of crushing the bones of their prey with a single bite. Their territorial nature means they will aggressively defend their domain against intruders. Tyler had observed Luna during previous visits and noticed that she often rested in a specific spot near the viewing area during evening hours. His plan was to enter the enclosure, approach the sleeping jaguar, and take a selfie while touching her. Tyler's small size and determination allowed him to access the keeper walkway behind the exhibit. He discovered that a mesh panel in the secondary containment barrier had been damaged during recent maintenance work and was scheduled for repair the following week. The compromised panel provided just enough space for Tyler to squeeze through into the back of house area. Tyler dropped into Luna's territory just after midnight, his phone ready to capture the evidence he needed. The jaguar appeared to be sleeping in her usual spot near a fallen log, her powerful body motionless in the dim light. What Tyler didn't understand was that jaguars are primarily nocturnal hunters with exceptional night vision and hearing. Luna was not actually sleeping, but resting with her eyes closed while remaining fully alert to any sounds or movements in her territory. Tyler approached Luna's resting spot with his phone extended. When he was within arm's reach, Tyler extended his hand toward Luna's powerful shoulder. The moment Tyler's fingers made contact with her fur, Luna exploded into action with lightning-fast reflexes. Her powerful jaws clamped down on Tyler's extended arm with devastating force, her 1,500 pounds per square inch bite force crushing bones and severing major arteries instantly. Tyler's scream of agony echoed through the empty zoo as Luna's powerful jaws maintained their grip on his arm. The jaguar's natural killing instincts took over as she repositioned for a more effective attack on her victim's neck and throat. Luna released Tyler's mangled arm only to clamp her jaws around his neck with surgical precision. Her 2.5-inch canine teeth punctured through major blood vessels, while her bite force crushed his cervical vertebrae and compromised his airway. Tyler's body convulsed as the jaguar's assault continued, his phone clattering to the ground. The jaguar's powerful body pinned Tyler to the ground, while her razor-sharp claws raked across his torso and limbs, opening deep wounds that caused massive blood loss. Tyler's movements ceased within minutes as massive trauma and blood loss overwhelmed his system. Security guards discovered the scene when Tyler's screams alerted them to the jaguar exhibit at 12:47 a.m. Luna showed signs of agitation as the guards approached, forcing them to wait for wildlife officials with tranquilizer equipment. The first dart was administered at 1:03 a.m., with full sedation achieved by 1:08 a.m. The investigation revealed that Tyler had exploited the damaged mesh panel in the keeper walkway that was scheduled for repair. His phone contained messages from classmates discussing the dare that had led to his death. Forensic examination showed characteristic jaguar bite patterns with extensive crushing trauma to the cervical vertebrae. Luna was placed in quarantine and behavior monitoring per species survival plan protocols, while exhibit engineering repairs were completed. The animal remained on zoo grounds following comprehensive safety assessments and facility modifications. Tyler's death shocked his school community and highlighted the tragic consequences of peer pressure and inadequate parental supervision. The zoo implemented enhanced security measures and began educational programs about the dangers of attempting to interact with wild animals. But teenagers weren't the only ones who made fatal errors around big cats. In Ohio, an experienced zookeeper's momentary lapse in protocol would cost her life in an encounter with a Sumatran tiger. It was November 12, 2014, and the Cincinnati Zoo bustled with activity as staff prepared for another day of animal care and public education. Amanda Chen, 28, arrived early for her shift in the big cat section, where she had worked for 5 years, building a reputation as one of the most dedicated and safety-conscious keepers on staff. Amanda was pursuing her master's degree in animal behavior while working full-time at the zoo, often pulling double shifts to save money for her upcoming wedding. The demanding schedule had left her exhausted, but she took pride in her work with the endangered Sumatran Sumatran tigers and was committed to their conservation. Her assignment that morning involved cleaning Bayu's enclosure, a routine task she had performed hundreds of times. The 300-pound male Sumatran tiger had been at the zoo for 3 years and had developed a positive relationship with Amanda through daily training sessions and enrichment activities. Sumatran tigers are the smallest surviving tiger subspecies, but adult males still weigh up to 310 pounds and possess all the predatory capabilities of their larger cousins. They are critically endangered, with fewer than 400 individuals remaining in the wild. Despite their smaller size, Sumatran tigers are incredibly powerful predators, with bite forces reaching approximately 1,000 pounds per square inch and razor-sharp claws designed for killing large prey. The cleaning protocol required Amanda to secure Bayu in his holding area before entering the main enclosure. The shift door between the two areas was controlled by an interlock system with a slide bolt and indicator light designed to prevent exactly the kind of accident that was about to occur. Exhausted from working a double shift and distracted by thoughts of her upcoming wedding, Amanda made a fatal error in her routine. She failed to properly dog the slide bolt on the shift door after seeing the green indicator light, not realizing that ice buildup from the morning's cleaning had created a false positive signal while leaving the door improperly secured. Amanda entered the main enclosure with her cleaning equipment, believing that Bayu was safely contained in his holding area. She began hosing down the far corner of the enclosure, her back turned to the shift door as she focused on removing debris and waste from the tiger's living space. Bayu had been resting in his holding area when he detected Amanda's presence in the main enclosure. The tiger's natural curiosity led him to investigate the shift door, and his powerful shoulder easily pushed through the improperly secured barrier when the ice gave way under pressure. The moment Bayu entered the main enclosure, his demeanor changed from curious to territorial. Despite years of positive interaction with Amanda, the tiger's natural instincts recognized her as an intruder in his domain, triggering aggressive responses that overrode their established relationship. Amanda turned around to see Bayu approaching from the shift door, his powerful body moving with the fluid grace that made tigers such effective predators. She immediately recognized her mistake and tried to use the high-pressure hose to keep the tiger at bay while backing toward the exit gate. The water spray only served to agitate Bayu further, and his territorial instincts drove him to eliminate what he perceived as a threat to his domain. The 300-pound tiger charged Amanda with explosive speed, covering the distance between them in powerful bounds that gave her no opportunity to escape. Bayu's massive paw struck Amanda in the chest with bone-crushing force, sending her sprawling backward onto the concrete floor of the enclosure. The tiger's powerful jaws found her neck and throat with surgical precision, his 2.5-inch canine teeth puncturing through major blood vessels while crushing her cervical vertebrae and compromising her airway. Amanda's desperate screams alerted other keepers, who immediately initiated emergency protocols to rescue their colleague. The tiger's natural killing instincts drove him to maintain his grip on Amanda's neck while using his powerful body weight to pin her to the ground. Bayu's razor-sharp claws raked across Amanda's torso and arms, opening deep wounds that caused massive blood loss and trauma. The tiger's attack was swift and efficient, driven by millions of years of evolutionary programming that made him one of nature's most effective killers. Other keepers arrived within 4 minutes with tranquilizer equipment and emergency response protocols. The first dart was administered at 7:23 a.m., with full sedation achieved by 7:28 a.m. But Amanda had already sustained fatal injuries from Bayu's initial attack. Amanda died from massive blood loss and airway compromise before she could be transported to a hospital. Forensic examination revealed characteristic tiger bite patterns with 2.5-inch canine spacing and extensive cervical trauma, consistent with the species' natural killing method. The investigation revealed that her failure to properly secure the slide bolt, combined with the false indicator light caused by ice buildup, had created the conditions that led to the fatal encounter. Bayu was placed in quarantine for behavioral assessment and medical evaluation before being cleared to remain at the facility. The facility implemented additional safety measures, including redundant locking systems and mandatory two-keeper verification protocols for all big cat enclosures, requiring a second keeper to physically verify that all barriers are properly secured before any enclosure entry. Amanda's death devastated the zoo community and highlighted how even experienced professionals could fall victim to momentary lapses in safety protocols. Her family established a scholarship fund for students pursuing careers in wildlife conservation. Our final story takes us to rural Texas, where a career criminal's attempt at burglary would lead him into the territory of a mountain lion with deadly consequences. It was February 8, 2018, and the remote Texas countryside lay shrouded in darkness as Danny Kowalski approached what he believed was an unguarded warehouse on a sprawling rural property. The 31-year-old career criminal had been released from prison 6 months earlier, after serving 3 years for burglary and theft. Despite his parole officer's efforts to help him find legitimate work, Danny's criminal record made employment nearly impossible, and he had quickly returned to stealing to support his growing drug habit. Danny had heard rumors in prison about wealthy exotic animal collectors who kept valuable items in remote facilities with minimal security. The building Danny had been watching for 2 weeks appeared perfect for his purposes, a large metal structure sitting alone on a 50-acre property, far from neighbors and apparently unguarded during nighttime hours. What Danny didn't realize was that the building was a converted agricultural barn that housed a private collection of exotic cats owned by a retired oil executive who had spent decades acquiring rescued animals from failed zoos and entertainment facilities. The facility contained several large enclosures with mesh roofing designed to provide sanctuary for cats that could never be released into the wild. Mountain lions are North America's most widely distributed wild predator, with adult males weighing up to 220 pounds and possessing incredible stealth and hunting abilities. They are solitary, territorial animals that will aggressively defend their domain against any perceived intruders. Mountain lions can leap over 15 feet vertically and 40 feet horizontally, making them incredibly dangerous in confined spaces. Their bite force reaches approximately 400 pounds per square inch, and their razor-sharp claws are designed for killing prey much larger than humans. Danny had planned his entry carefully, bringing a portable ladder to access the building's skylight. He climbed onto the metal roof just after midnight, when he believed the property owner would be asleep in the main house located several hundred yards away. The skylight opened easily, revealing what appeared to be a dark storage area below. Danny lowered himself through the opening, expecting to land in a warehouse filled with valuable items. Instead, he dropped directly into Ranger's enclosure, a 20 by 30 foot space designed to house the 150-pound male mountain lion. Ranger had been rescued from a defunct roadside zoo 3 years earlier and had adapted well to his sanctuary life. The mountain lion was naturally nocturnal and had been prowling his territory when the unexpected intruder crashed through the skylight above his enclosure. Danny realized his mistake the moment he hit the ground and saw the massive cat moving toward him in the darkness. He tried to scramble back toward the skylight opening, but the smooth walls of the enclosure offered no handholds, and Ranger was already in motion. The mountain lion's attack came with the silent precision that made his species such effective predators. Ranger launched himself at Danny with explosive power, his 150-pound frame covering the distance between them in a single bound that demonstrated why mountain lions were such feared hunters. Ranger's powerful jaws clamped down on Danny's neck with devastating force, his 2-inch canine teeth puncturing through muscle and major blood vessels while applying crushing pressure to his carotid arteries. The mountain lion's natural killing technique was swift and efficient, designed to eliminate prey quickly and quietly through compression of vital blood flow. Danny's desperate screams echoed through the metal building as Ranger's razor-sharp claws raked across his torso and arms, opening deep gashes that caused massive blood loss. The confined space of the enclosure worked against Danny, giving him nowhere to escape as the territorial cat continued his assault. Ranger's powerful hind legs kicked against Danny's chest and abdomen, his claws inflicting additional wounds that punctured vital organs and caused internal bleeding. The mountain lion's natural hunting instincts drove him to maintain his grip on Danny's neck while using his body weight to pin his victim to the concrete floor. Danny's struggles grew weaker as blood loss and carotid compression overwhelmed his system. Within minutes, his movement ceased as Ranger's devastating attack proved fatal. The mountain lion continued to guard his kill, displaying the territorial behavior that had triggered the deadly encounter. The facility owner was awakened by Danny's screams and immediately called 911. At 12:34 a.m., law enforcement officers arrived within 20 minutes, but waited for the state wildlife tranquilizer team before attempting to enter the building. The first dart was administered at 1:15 a.m., with full sedation achieved by 1:22 a.m. Danny was already dead from massive blood loss and trauma to his neck when officials were finally able to safely access the enclosure. Forensic examination revealed characteristic mountain lion bite patterns with 2-inch canine spacing and extensive carotid damage consistent with the species' natural killing method. The investigation revealed that Danny had been planning the burglary for weeks, unaware that the converted barn housed dangerous predators rather than valuable merchandise. The facility owner faced legal scrutiny for operating an unlicensed exotic animal facility, and state wildlife officials confiscated Ranger along with the other cats, relocating them to licensed sanctuaries. Danny's death highlighted the tragic consequences of addiction and criminal behavior, while serving as a reminder that some boundaries should never be crossed. His family struggled with the circumstances of his death, knowing that his choices had led him into a situation where survival was impossible. Thanks for for watching, just when you think you've seen the most tragic moments. Click the next video for the next stories that will show you why some boundaries should never be